Hello and welcome to Two Therapists and a Microphone. I am Dr. Harrison Davis.
And I'm Dr. Aisha Dickerson.
Two Therapists and a Microphone is a show about mental health, relationships, and social issues that personally affect you. We broadcast live every Thursday evening at 7:30 p.m. on our Black Media Network, which is on YouTube, Facebook, and we are now broadcasting live on Twitter.
All right. For those of you who don't know, we are two licensed psychotherapists with decades of clinical experience, and we want to hear from you. We want to hear about the situations or dilemmas that you're going through. Send us your questions by visiting our webpage at www.twotherapists.com and click on Ask Two Therapists at the top of the page.
All right, so today's show is on hot topics. And this is where Dr. Aisha and we choose a hot topic that we want to talk about without a guest. We're just going to talk about it with ourselves and give our opinions and expert advice. And we have a very first email from a listener who wants us to address an issue. I'm going to go over that after you, Dr. Aisha, present your topic today.
Okay, so Harrison, you weren't with me last week, but we had Cheryl Walker, and
I saw the show.
Did you? Okay, well, we got a lot of people talking about that one while we were talking, and it got me thinking about when she talked about certain issues. She referred to people who have penises and people who have vulvas, and I found myself, as culturally competent as I feel I am, kind of getting mixed up with that and wanting to say men and women and thinking about not offending people and what words do we use now, who qualifies as a man, who qualifies as a woman, and I want everybody to feel how they want to feel. And then also, so here's my topic. I want to talk about Lia Thomas, the trans female swimmer who won the NCAA title in swimming. And I know a lot of people are talking about whether or not that is fair. Even Caitlyn Jenner, it's Caitlyn, right? Okay, Caitlyn Jenner had a statement saying that it wasn't fair and that Lia isn't the winner and that is common sense. And where I work with a lot of trans people. We do HRT. And so it sent me kind of down to this research spiral because I like to do research. It appears that Lia has done 2 years of HRT. And for those who aren't familiar with what I mean when I say HRT, I'm talking about the hormone therapy to take Lia from being male to being female. And then so I know a little bit about HRT, but also I see, thank you, the culturally competent, AKA I try. I think there are a lot of us, but then I see the pictures, right, of the winners podium where we have first, second, and third place, and they're just, from looking with my eyes, there appears to be such an advantage that Lia has. Yeah. So I then am not thinking as much about Lia as I am about the other athletes and how defeating it must be to know that there's almost nothing I can do to swim as hard and as fast as this person who's tall. I can't grow taller. There are going to be very few women who are as tall as Lia is. I guess there will have to be testing done to figure out how much I know there are lower levels of testosterone, but how low are those levels that they are? I mean, you have to test the women to find out if the levels were equal. It just seems like there's a lot of science to be done. And then looking at those pictures, thinking about mental health, I felt bad for those women. Now, on the flip side, I know you all have heard me say before that my daughter plays volleyball. I would love for a trans woman to be on the volleyball team.
What is that your advantage?
I mean, to be that tall, the tall girls already have advantages. They don't have to jump. They just kind of pop the ball down. And I've also seen males play, and this is a completely different game. They jump up in the air like they're about to make a slam dunk, and they hit the ball so hard. I haven't seen a trans girl play volleyball. I would love to see that. I think it would be exciting. But I also think if said trans woman were on the other team, I might feel slighted as well. So Harrison,
conflicted a little bit.
Right, just a little bit. Like I said before, I want people to feel how they feel. I want them to be happy. If you feel unhappy in your body, I've always been one to say, do what you want to with your body. If you want plastic surgery, go for it if it makes you happy.
Yep.
But Now, where does your equality come to a point where it violates other people?
Yeah.
That's the best way I could think about saying it.
Yeah, I can remember seeing that story on news, the internet. That's how I get my news now. I just scroll on my phone, and the image. What's the trans woman name? The swimmer, Leah.
Leah Thomas.
Yeah, looking at Leah, I saw a man.
Hmm.
The stature, the muscles, even her voice, the haircut. So, but like you, I respect everybody. You know, do what makes you happy. I'm not going to stand in your way. I'm not going to criticize you. I'm actually
Hmm.
happy for you. But I read the story about how Leah won the championship, and so I too thought it was a little bit unfair. I thought about the person who came in second place, you know, the female, and I was wondering what classified Leah to participate in that particular competition. You know,
Hmm.
so I don't know the rules. I don't know what that person has below her waist. I don't know how they categorize someone to be the woman and or the man. So I'm like you. I'm still learning about this stuff, but I do respect the right to choose and be who they want to be. I celebrate you, you know, but like you, I wonder about the fairness with that.
Right. Well, I believe from what I remember from my research that Leah qualified under the rules that the individual had to have done at least 1 year of HRT, and Leah had done two. But more recent rules, are, I guess, or what is switching to is that'll be 3 years of HRT.
Okay.
So I don't know. Let me
Well,
tell you this. Go
isn't the
ahead.
hormone therapy designed to change their body? I guess some of it to in appearance to look more like the gender, their desired gender.
So it's more than just appearance. So for someone who is transitioning from male to female,
Hmm.
there will be estrogen, other
Yep.
female hormones that are taken, and testosterone will be lower.
Okay.
For female transitioning to male, there will be estrogen blockers, and then testosterone will be provided. So increase the testosterone and lower the estrogen, and the opposite. But it does take time, just like it takes time for you to get these hormones in your body. We see teenagers that are going through puberty all the time. Imagine
Yep.
the puberty is somewhere from like 11 to years 14,
Yep.
15, 16 before
Yep.
they're done. And for a male, he can still be growing in certain areas until like his early 20s.
Yep.
So I'm not even sure 3 years is enough. But what I am sure of is that they need to continue to do research. I believe that the people who are making these decisions are probably as conflicted as I am, and
Mhm.
wanting not to discriminate. And also,
Yeah.
it's a delicate balance.
It
I
is.
care, I care about you. I want you to be happy, but
Yep.
also I
Yep.
care about these other people and I want them to be happy too.
Yep.
And
Yep.
those other little swimmers who are like a foot shorter just look so like, oh,
And
well,
less muscle mass, you know,
I'm
and don't
here.
have the strength. So I hear you on that. I had the same feelings when I didn't put a whole lot of energy into it, but I remember thinking about the losers,
Hmm.
try and also celebrating the person who was becoming who she wants to be. That's great, but I didn't know about what the transition entailed,
Hmm.
and so I know the image of what I saw looked definitely like a man for sure. So that's a hot debate, you
Well,
know.
check this out. You have years of building that muscle as well. Years of building that muscle. The HRT is not just going to take away your muscle mass that you've already built.
Okay.
In the high schools, I've been seeing a high school track meet where there was a female transition to a male, and she was all the way last
Okay.
in the track meet. She had
Gotcha.
been taking her hormones as well. I'm sorry, he had been taking his hormones as well, and had not built the muscle mass and didn't have the speed. that he thought he
Yeah.
was going to have in that race. Might have been faster than every woman. Speaking of which, Leah Thomas was like number 1,000 something ranking in NCAA when she
Men,
was swimming with men.
men, yeah.
And now she's number one. Like,
Yeah, it's a you have to be careful
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
about how you discuss it. You know, as someone who works in diversity, equity, inclusion, and you're a big advocate as well. You know, we got to walk this delicate line with that.
exactly.
But when do we look at the fairness of things? You know, celebrating who you are, but what if that? Where's the line when it comes to competition? And I didn't know that you can change your gender so easily, you know.
I wouldn't say it's easy. I'll say it's the change is more available. It's still a very difficult process. And
Yeah,
taking the hormones, imagine going through reverse puberty and then puberty again.
yeah,
So my understanding from the people that I work with is that it's not comfortable. There are a lot of mood swings. There's a lot of counseling that's needed
yeah,
for, how are you going to, not just how are your family members and your loved ones going to interact with you, but also how are you
yeah.
going to deal with the pain of some of this? I mean, physical pain of some of these things happening. And once you decide to get gender reassignment surgery, how are you going to deal with that pain? If you've been working, you're a hard worker, you have to sit down after that surgery. You can't just, have it and get up the next day and be like, "Ooh, good to go." I mean, you
But
got to chill for a minute.
do we know if Leah, the swimmer, who's now a woman, if she's had the surgery? Do we know that? Because
So that's a good question.
I couldn't find that information.
I didn't try to find the information. I didn't hear it. So I assumed they didn't know.
Hmm.
Because
So,
if it were available on the internet, chances are CNN and ESPN and all them would have
so there
reported
was
it. So
no information about it. And it's easy for me to make some assumptions about that it hasn't been done. That's what I mean by it was so easy to transition in the sporting world
mhm.
by simply taking the hormones to change your hormone system within your body. So that's what I was thinking about because I'm assuming that individual has not had the surgery to reassign their gender, but I don't know. I don't know, but it's a delicate thing,
Mhm.
you know, because it sounds like there's some consequences to it, and somebody's going to be at a disadvantage.
Exactly. Someone, that's the point. Someone is going to be at a disadvantage. If it were Leah or if it were all the other people. That right now is all the other people because Leah just went from being a whole loser on one team to being number one on
Yeah,
more than a loser on the team. She was a loser
yeah.
in the whole college sports world.
And
And
now she's
now
a
she's a
superstar.
winner.
Now she's a champion.
Okay.
Tough
Exactly.
conversation. Tough, and I'm still thinking about it. But thank you
You're
for
welcome.
bringing that up. Some intriguing conversation. Got to think about things. So I now want to bring up the email that I
Okay.
got from a listener who went to our website, twotherapist.com, and clicked on Two Therapists, and it sends me an email. And so I'm just going to read the information
Okay.
that I got. It looks like they were doing it on the phone, some typos in it. But anyway, 55-year-old divorced man, 24-year-old son who graduated from college over a year ago, who lives with his mother in the same city. I paid for him to go to college, but he does not work and is not looking for a job. Uh, his son's mom purchased a car for him for high school graduation as a present, and she gives him money for gas. He smokes weed all day and goes to the clubs all night. His mother treats him like a kid, and we argue about his behavior on a weekly basis. I just want him to be a drug free, productive member of society, but I can't get through to him. What should I do?
Oh, that's
Oh,
let me start by saying that is a lot more common than you think that it is.
yes,
In
yes,
fact, there are whole groups in the Atlanta area for what we call failure to launch,
yeah,
which is
yeah,
what I am hearing here. It sounds like this 24-year-old, for a lot of people, it's okay going to college because someone is still taking care of you while you're in college. You're
Yeah.
still not independent. And this son is not just not comfortable being independent, but has really had no need to be what we all would consider independent. And
An adult.
unfortunately, right. Unfortunately, his mother is enabling him.
Yep.
So I hear that he's using drugs, and that happens a lot with people who are using substances, where they have family members who pay their bills or get them out of jail and make it so that they can be pseudo successful, regardless of the fact that they're not doing what they need to do to be successful on their own. That's why the son is able to use the drugs. That's why he doesn't care to change. And
Yep.
unfortunately, this father, there's nothing that he's going to be able to do as long as mom is enabling him, except that he's going to push the son away. In addition to that, because son is grown and doesn't sound like they're married, if I was reading that correctly.
It said divorce.
Okay.
The
Mom doesn't
mother,
even have to talk to him
the
about it.
son lives with the mother, and
Mhm.
she bought him a car apparently before college. And
And,
she's
and
giving
so, like a graduation gift. So he's had the
yes.
car for, sounds like 6 years. It's a 6-year-old
And
car
apparently the
and name
dad
on there.
paid for college and the mom got him a car.
Hmm.
But now he's graduated from college, is what the email said.
Hmm.
So I agree with you with that, failure to launch, but I don't even hear an incentive for the son to be an adult. I have heard of the stories from clients about grown kids still in the house,
Hmm.
all the way up to 30,
Yeah.
but they couldn't support themselves for a number of reasons. And they didn't go to college. They don't have a college degree.
Mm.
And, they don't have good work ethic, but it was a quite different situation. What I was surprised by this is that the guy went to college, has a degree. And you write, I'm like, okay, I thought you go to college to get a job, but apparently he's very comfortable. And you're
Mhm.
right, the mom is enabling the 24-year-old, and the dad sounds like he's a little bit pissed off about things. And he did say at the end to be a drug-free, productive member of society. So what I was wondering, like the son is grown. At
Mhm.
what age? And I know the guy, he may not like this. At what age do we pull back,
Mhm.
from
A-
our
And that's
kids?
what I was thinking.
I would hate that. That's a situation I wouldn't want to be in. But when you have a child who's under 18 in particular, you can control them, you can mold them, you can influence them, choose the word you want to use. But at 24, I was sitting there wondering, I don't know what kind of advice to give him because I believe he's talked to him, he's talked to the mom. But if you can't get through the 24-year-old grown man with a college degree smoking weed all day, you might have to step back.
Well, the thing about it is, let's think. I'm going to think scientifically again, and that even the government will allow your children to be on your insurance until they're
26.
25. Is it 26 now?
Mhm,
Okay,
mhm.
and that's because the prefrontal cortex is not fully developed until about age 24, 25. So we're going to say that the son cannot make proper decisions until that age. But what you're telling me is he's like 24 and a half. Like his
Mhm.
prefrontal cortex is fully developed, or at least almost there. So there's really no excuse, but it also sounds like he doesn't need to make excuses because his mother is letting him do what he wants to do. Or perhaps mother is complaining to her ex-husband, but she doesn't care enough to really do anything, or she's afraid to say something to him, or she's codependent
Yeah,
and she's just happy to
that's what I
have
was
her
thinking.
baby boy at home.
So the other problem that this is, I've heard about it on radio shows, read about it on some of the blogs. Are we babying black men too much?
Oh,
Are
let
are
me
you
pull my
like that
sleeves
one?
up because
You like that one? Are
okay.
we treating them like children? Are we raising black men to be boys? Is what came to mind when I got this email and read it about 3 times to make sure I
Hmm.
really understood it, and what the mom is doing because the 24-year-old appears to be very comfortable, The dad is trying to get through to him. He has some goals for him. The dad was in a position to pay for college. That is
Okay.
wonderful. I wish that would be great.
I
No
mean, maybe if he
student
had some
loans.
college, right? Maybe if he had some student loan debt, he would even be more motivated to get to work to pay off his debt. But he has
I
no, he doesn't have auto loan debt. He doesn't have a mortgage. He doesn't have student loans. He is debt free.
Yep,
What
that's what I
wonderful
thought.
parents you are for setting him up for that.
But
But
what about the
also,
mom? What
right.
is she raising? Or should I say
Mm.
both? I don't want to put it all on the mom, because I don't know when they got divorced. I don't know when things happened, but he's describing the current situation now. But it made me think about that and something I've wondered about. Is there a trend in our society where parents are raising black men to be boys? Wanted to hear what you thought about that, Dr. Aisha.
All right, well, here it goes. So, what I have seen a lot of times is that I'll say maybe for people who are in their 30s, men, a lot of men I've seen in their 30s, maybe 40s, there had been this period where there were a lot of single mothers. We know that the divorce rate got up to about 50%
Yep.
back in like the 80s, maybe 70s, 80s.
And it has not declined.
No, 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 it hadn't gotten any better, but that's about the time where divorces really 70s and 80s divorces really took off. And there were a lot of single mothers, and with single mothers, two things came. Sometimes there were making little boys the men of the house, giving them too much power, which translated to be something much worse when they got into relationships later on in life. But also there was this, and it's done with love. Build your son up. Tell him how great he is. Tell him that he's a king and there's no one better than him, and any woman will should be happy to have him. And they believe this, and they tell these women, you should be
Yep.
happy to have my son. And I'm sorry he cheated on you, but that's just what a man does. And I raised my son to be a gentleman. And I've heard some say, my son is handsome. And, that's my
Yep.
little man. That's mom's little king.
Hmm.
And so they go around thinking that, they're kings and
Yeah.
women should take care of them. It's either going to be my mama or it's going to be this woman.
Yeah, yeah. I actually had a client with the single mom, I think around 40 or so, and a teenage son. She called the teenage son daddy.
That's no.
I thought you might like that. Yeah. We talked about that. But same situation. She really built him up, bought him everything, kept him in the best clothes. He didn't have to do anything. And I guess any guy would love that,
Mhm.
to have such a loving, caring mom who sacrificed a lot of things. But we talked about her using that term, and then he started getting into trouble with certain things, and what was contributing to it. But what about the outcome of all of
You're
that?
not creating anyone's Prince Charming. You are creating someone's worst nightmare. Whether
Yeah.
that is the worst nightmare on the job, worst nightmare in a marriage, worst nightmare as a father, where they're so dependent on everyone else taking care of them that they can't
Oh,
take
another
care of
woman.
children.
Yep.
Right, that they can't take care of children that they might accidentally have. It's like Baby Boy. You remember
Yeah,
that movie?
I remember.
Just
Yeah. Yep.
you failure to launch, and then you're not even, you're barely taking care of your kid. Maybe you might be taking care of them a little bit. You lay eyes on them so you feel like you're a good father.
But think
But
about this guy. He's 24 years old with a college degree, and the dad writes he's smoking weed all day and goes to clubs all night. He doesn't have a job, and he's not looking for a job. What if
that's the
that
worst
guy?
part.
What if this guy? And he's not a. I don't know. Is he a bum? I don't know. He's a bum with a college degree
He might
and,
be good
and a
looking, a
car.
good looking man with a college degree.
Isn't that the type to meet some girl hanging out in the club, get her
Oh,
pregnant,
she is
and
ready to
he
fix them too. She
and
wants
it
to fix
yes,
them.
and he can't take care of himself, so that cycle may be continuing with some of these enabling behavior that the mom is doing with the son, not preparing him, for the real world, not preparing him to be a man, a black man in this society. And I can understand some of the frustration from the dad as I was reading the letter, but a lot of that falls onto the mom. Do
Mhm.
you think the guy who sent me the email needs to talk to his ex-wife or the 24-year-old son?
Here's the thing. No. Let me tell you why. You, as a grown man, have told this other grown man everything that you think about his situation. And
Yep.
any further harassment about it is just going to affect you all's relationship.
Make it worse. Yep.
Right. At some point, you've just got to step back. And when he is ready to receive that, he will come to you receptively and he might ask for your advice. But the more you
Yep.
try to push him out of his mom's house, he's like a moth to a flame. No, I can't leave my mom. No,
Hmm.
I don't have to do all that stuff. Just don't talk to him about it. Now, as for the ex-wife, there's a reason she is your ex-wife. And she doesn't have to listen to you either. If you were my ex-husband and we have grown kids, I'm not sure how you get through to my phone in the first place. You got blocked the second they got grown.
I think I triggered something with that question. I triggered something with that. But I was thinking, why isn't the son living with the dad? If he's now
Dad
grown
has rules.
to get some guidance, dad paid for college. And but he decided to live with the mom, of course, because it's much easier. He can go hang out and do what he wants to do. And I believe the dad, I'm just assuming here, is doesn't want the son to go down a certain path, and end up 30 years old, still living with his mom, 2 or 3 kids. He's not taking care of the kids, and the cycle's gonna begin. But yeah, part of me, to wrap that up, is thinking I would have to tell him, you're gonna have to deal with that disappointment internally and step back, like you said, and let that grown man do his thing, make his mistakes, always be
Mhm.
there for him. If something bad happens, like he gets arrested or something, but wait for him to come to you. You're not
Right.
gonna make a grown man do nothing. I know
It's you're
that
not going to
wasn't
do
good
anything
English.
but make him want. You're not going to do anything but make him continue to assert that he's a grown man, and make him remind you that you can't make him do, as Harrison said, nothing.
Nothing. I mean, at this point, what is the incentive to be an adult? Nobody's giving it to him. And I don't know what the ex wife is doing, what she's gaining out of it, but that is much more attractive to the 24-year-old in that lifestyle than apparently, like you said, living with the dad who has some rules and some expectations,
Hmm.
about
Hmm.
him getting a job. And it sounds like this is a weekly ongoing argument that he's having. So that's a tough situation, but I don't know what you can do
I don't.
about it.
Maybe what the ex-wife is getting is continued communication with her ex-husband. Maybe she's just, letting it happen because she likes him calling her to complain. That gives her a reason to talk to him every week. I
That,
mean,
that
it's just there's a lot of different things that can be going on there. But what I do know for sure, to answer the question, is stop talking to the ex-wife and your son about it. There's nothing you can do,
Yeah,
but be present
yeah,
when things go downhill, and they will. I
yeah.
mean,
They
maybe
will.
ex-wife will get a man at some point, and then she'll want him to go, or maybe it'll
Or
hit
the
him,
son
or
is going to realize his mistakes and he's not going anywhere. And I don't know what the mom does or anything, but at some point her situation may change. But be there, available for him. And when things fall apart, you can step forward and try to help them piece things together. That's the best thing we can do. But torturing yourself on a weekly basis, I think Dr. Aisha and I do not recommend that.
no, no, do not worry yourself, because what else I have heard is that he is safe. He is not in jail yet.
Yeah.
I don't know what
He didn't
else is
mention
going to.
that.
Right, doesn't sound like he's in jail. There's still hope. So just pat yourself on the back for being such an amazing father, that you were able to and willing to pay for your son to get through college, that he
Absolutely.
has made it all the way to all the way to almost 25, that he has friends who he goes out with, that he's, I don't know, I'm trying to pull some strengths here. He's resourceful and he knows where to find his marijuana. But whatever it is, just pull some strengths from it, and
Yeah.
know that you did what you were supposed to do. Find some peace in that and go live your life. Don't be miserable thinking about how
Absolutely.
he's not living the life you want him to live.
Absolutely. Very good, Dr. Aisha. So, I know that may not be what you wanted to hear from us, but what Dr. Aisha just mentioned was absolutely correct. Protect yourself, be there, to help him when he comes to you, because I believe he will at some point.
Mhm.
Mama can't help him with everything, and he's going to realize the strength that you have and the guidance that you can provide. But it looks like we're going to have to wait for him to come to you. You know, you got him through college and you were in a position to pay for it. That's wonderful. I am wondering, was there a plan for after college, and was that communicated to the son? But that's for another show.
Yeah.
So we're at the end of today's show. You guys have been watching Two Therapists and a Microphone. I am Dr. Harrison Davis.
And I'm Dr. Aisha Dickerson.
So check us out every Thursday evening at 7:30 p.m. On YouTube, Facebook, and now we're on Twitter. And make sure to check out our website, twotherapists.com. Send us some more comments and questions, as I love and enjoy doing this part. I will see you guys next week.
Bye.
I like that.